That thing is banging.
That thing is banging,
It's
girl.
banging.
Hey guys.
Happy Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I was thinking the other day? So, since you guys are not her neighbors, I think I want to call y'all Nikki neighbors. Nikki's neighbors. So, hey, Nikki's neighbors.
Yeah, because I definitely pulled a post and I was like, hey y'all, Nikki's
Right.
neighbors.
I'm claiming all of you guys. I love all of y'all.
No, I love you all too.
So, Nikki's
But you know,
neighbors.
like it's like you gotta build up.
So now when I post, I'm gonna be like hashtag Nikki's neighbors.
She did that.
I like that.
Well, hi, happy Friday. This is very special. We had a week episode of the podcast, right?
Right.
It's been an eventful and like, can somebody get me a glass? Week, but also like a very amazing week, right?
We have birthdays to celebrate.
Yeah, both our sons are a day and a year apart,
Yeah.
and it's fun, exhausting.
Yeah. Did you do anything?
We did dinner and like got him some stuff and like tomorrow actually I'm telling this like
Hopefully you don't see this.
yeah, no, he knows.
Okay,
like,
let's
like
see.
yeah, like just doing a little gathering by the pool at my cousin's if you're interested. But how was birthday?
I really didn't do too much because I had to work. So my mom took them to lunch.
Oh, lunch.
Yeah.
That's a listen. If you know Orlando, you know like that's a kid's spot
Yes,
because
we
no
went
one
there.
loves going there. Yeah.
And then after we went to the house and had food and gathered, everybody came over, the kids played.
He likes to eat.
They was out by 9 o'clock.
No, I was out by. Like everybody stayed up. I was out yesterday by 9. Today, like, and having birthdays and having celebrations, and having tough times in the last few weeks is also like just brought up like so much pressure on what it's like to live as a woman, and not just a woman but a mom, and the pressure of like all the things that everybody has always something to say, and even family has something to say,
And I
and
think
something
it's
to
usually family. It's
Yeah,
usually
let's speak on family. How is, like, cause they have a way of making you feel this
Yeah,
small
they do.
about anything you do, and it's rarely like I get celebrated by family. Don't get me wrong, but it's rarely.
I was about to ask that, like, when was the last time somebody told you you're doing a great job as a mom?
It was a friend.
Not a family?
The last time a family member told me I was doing a good job as a mom, I'm gonna sit and wait and think about
Right.
that one. Because it's like sometimes it's unspoken, and I get that. I think a lot of like, especially I'm really close to cousins. Like they just like do life with me, but never necessarily speak on it, right?
Yeah.
But I know that they celebrate it a little. But man, don't nobody say nothing about like good job, mom, or like
Yeah.
you raised them kids good.
And I feel like it's not that we're looking for it. I don't think that we're
Absolutely
looking
not.
for it, but we hear people are so quick to tell you when you're not doing the right thing, instead of saying, you know what, wow, you're actually doing a really good job.
Like that was a tough moment, and you handled it like a boss. Can somebody take like just you know what I mean? Like there's moments where like it's almost like you're afraid to tell someone that you're going through something with a kid because automatically what'd you do?
Yeah. They look at the parents.
Or like did you like whose fault is that? You know, like, oh, I told you, you should have. And I don't get a lot of that because I don't have like a mom in my life, and I feel like a lot of those things. Does it come from your mom a lot?
Yeah, the majority is your mother.
And so thank God. Well,
My
what
mother is
my
the
mom
biggest
gotta say.
hater.
It's like she's there to support, but also like,
Right.
girl. So what's the worst thing that she told you about this? Dang, I gotta
I'm
go.
about to
Why
say-
do I gotta go deep? Quick, right?
I'll let you say that on camera.
Oh, but the worst thing that she like, or the worst moment that she criticized your parenting skills, like, was. Can you speak on it? I just asked you a deep. I know I like dove deep. I know I dove deep, but it was like
I called her in a moment of weakness and was crying and telling her I didn't understand what was going on, and she was like, I mean, remember how you were when you were a kid? And I was like, but I never did this stuff. Like, I never did things like this. And she's like, well, it's because you spoiled them and they're entitled now, and you buy them name brand cereals and name brand clothes. She was like, so now this is your fault. You shouldn't have spoiled them. So I said, the disrespect that I just got from my child is because I spoiled them.
Like, how?
What?
I'm laughing, but it's not funny because it's hurtful, right? So, like, I know, like, in that moment, you probably were like, it made you worse. It made you feel like, okay, so now what? Like,
Right.
I'm so sorry.
Like,
I love
dang,
Mama Ellis.
I
So,
should've,
like, no.
bought my kids Fruit O's instead of Fruit Loops, huh?
Like, that makes no sense to me because the evolution of things is like, obviously, you should be able to provide better, right? Because, like, you always want better for your kids than what you had.
Mm-hmm.
And not that your childhood was like terrible of it, or like not that they didn't provide what they couldn't at the time, but it's like I've always wanted to do more for my kids. That's just because I want to do better and more.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not necessarily spoiling them. That's just like I'm able to, and in that moment I'm gonna work my butt off so that they can do all the things.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like a hope and a dream type of thing. Like, okay, we can. So what the heck does that? And comment or tell us something. What the heck does that have to do with you as a mom?
Right.
And that disrespect is allowable because God
my
forbid
kids are
Fruit
spoiled.
Loops was on sale and you got it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Because
how
my
is that a
kids are
thing?
spoiled because Publix had buy one get one free Frosted Flakes, and I didn't get them flaky-os.
Flaky. I don't even know because I never had a name brand. So I never had a name brand cereal in my life until I bought it.
Me either.
Right? Cool. I don't think that was a parenting tactic. He was poor. Like,
Right. But it's like, in the moment of me calling and telling you, like, I just got
That
the
should've been-
highest level of disrespect from my child. You tell me, well, what did you do when you were a kid? It's like she's been waiting to say that. I was like, I was actually a pretty good kid. Like, I graduated with over 4.0. I could have been valedictorian, but I didn't want to speak because I was too shy.
Yeah.
Scholarship, like, I was a good kid.
And and I gotta call this out because this is another reason why I feel like you parent the way you do. You said all the things that you accomplished and not the person you are.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, like, yes, you have accomplishments, but you're a good person.
But I'm saying
Right?
that, like, as a child, this is
Like, those are the things that make you a good kid, right?
right.
But,
because like,
and it's
kids
heavy on
only
us.
have a few. No, kids only have two things that they gotta worry about: school and home. That's it. Everything else is taken care of. You have no bills, no nothing. So if I'm cleaning my room, doing everything I have to do at home, and doing good in school,
What you gotta complain about,
what was I
Mama?
doing?
Yeah.
What was I doing?
I get it. I think though kids have it a little tougher now because socially they have it tougher
Mm-hmm.
because now there's different ways that you can be bullied. There's different ways that you can have self-esteem issues. You could just pick up this phone and
Right.
like, oh dang, I don't look like this person automatically.
Right.
But that doesn't excuse behavior.
No.
Like I don't understand why it's okay for people to tell you about yourself with your kid, but they ain't doing nothing to help you, right?
Mhm.
So like in the moment with your mom, instead of like, okay, well this is maybe a tool that you can use so that like maybe you can deal with it in a better way, even if
Or
she
even
thought you were
saying,
doing
like,
wrong.
I remember when you were a child, you did something like that, and
And
I
this is
did
how I
this.
handled it.
Right.
But you're not helping nobody by like, oh, I told you so.
Right.
Kind of, like first, let's say this loud on the camera.
But
No person, let alone a woman that's already stressed with her kids, wants to hear "I told you so." And if you have to say it, go talk to somebody else about that.
Right.
Like,
Or
like,
go
you
to
know,
the
talk
bathroom.
about me,
say
But
it
don't-
and then come back out. Like,
and
don't
then
say
like
it.
let it out. Yeah, no, because nobody wants to hear that. No, I never met a person that was like, and they're like, oh, I love that she did. Don't do it. Like I just don't do it. Like it's one of those things, especially in parenting. And I think like for me, because I had the parent, I can't use the word parent. That's a lie.
Mhm.
The lady that gave birth to me. Let's just leave it at that. Because I had her, so like I already kind of had like a guideline of what kind of not to do.
Right.
But what I didn't have was what to do correctly, like how to not just love. Something's happening over there. Sorry, something's happening. IG Live is out of control.
Right.
so-
Something is happening over there.
But what I didn't have was like I got my parenting okays or what to do in a way, just like from watching and being a fly on the wall. My grandmother was really like an amazing parent, so I took tips from that. But nobody, and another thing, nobody talks about like, especially, I don't know for you, but about what it is to be a parent and how to like.
I mean, nowadays I feel like we have those conversations.
Correct.
Our
'Cause
parents.
we're the generation that
We communicate with our kids. We
the
talk to
communication.
them. We
is
gentle
there.
parents, so we have conversations with our kids.
Do you believe in gentle parenting?
See, my
feel it's
definition
like
of gentle parenting.
Parent well.
Right. I
Gentle or not, like just be the best parent, you know?
Right. I think gentle parenting to me is having those hard conversations, like this is your consequence and this is why you're getting this consequence. Because with
I
us,
agree with that.
we didn't have.
Heck no, you got your butt kicked.
And you can
it
ask
was
why.
like,
You could not ask why.
God forbid you ask why.
Why did you hit me? Because I wanted to. Okay. Got it. Cool.
Because I said so. Like, why am I doing this? And it felt
And
so
that's- I
wrong.
hate
It was like
that.
bad things that you were
Right.
doing. Like, it depends. Because I came from that background where I was doing something bad and it was because my mom encouraged it. And I'm like, this is not what kids do. It's just because I said so. That doesn't make sense. And my oldest calls me out sometimes where I'm like, do this. And he's like, he'll question me. And I'm like, I try not to get mad because he should question me if it's something that doesn't sit well with him. And then I try to never use the phrase because I said so.
Right. I think we should be
Because
teaching our kids to question
like,
things that
why?
don't sit right with them.
Yeah, because then we have a lot less kids that are being abused sexually or in any facet because they'll be like, wait, this doesn't sit well.
Right.
I should tell somebody and question, is this the right thing to do? But God forbid we question anything. Like, come on, any 80s and 90s, maybe even late 70s babies know that was like, God forbid you even raised like your eyebrow. But now about people. Do friends give you a hard time about parenting, or have you had?
Friends. Not. I can't remember if they have. Most of my friends, because I'm a very private person when it comes to my kids, so they don't know the ins and outs of everything. The ones that do tell me they don't know how to do it. Like I'm one strong person because they don't know how to do it.
See, isn't that refreshing to hear? Like
Sometimes
some
it's like,
of the validation.
well, I want to be strong.
Yeah. I mean, like we got no. It's like there's no choice to be strong in certain situations, and to keep that patience.
Yeah.
But I haven't ever been told anything negative about my parenting from friends. What I have been told is how private I am and like, why didn't you? But some things, and this might be hard for people to grasp that don't have kids or that don't see it that way. But when you have kids, you have to discern literally what you share and how you share. And sometimes outside looking in, it looks like half-ass, right? And it looks like, oh, she's being the messy one. But I'd rather look messy to others and have it handled in my home and know, like, this is what is appropriate in my home. Like, my way is not right for you and yours, and it is what it is. But I get a lot of, like, oh, well, you should have just told me this. Or you, and that's not, I don't need that.
I think the only thing that I have really got, like, some criticism about my parenting is that I am too easy or too hard. Like, you're too hard on this one, but then this one you're too easy with. Like, you're letting this one run all over you. You need to be a little bit more, like, stern with them. And if you say no, no is no. When you're grounding them, ground them for as long as you say. And don't, like, stop giving in kind of thing.
I did hear that from a friend when I just had Chico and Chico was little. A friend of mine said, like, keep a punishment. And shout out to Melise, because she did teach me that in a way. She never said it because I wasn't doing it. She just said it because, like, I was a newer mom. And it was like, just make sure your word is your word, whether it's bad, and you punish them and you keep that word, because then that's when disrespect kind of creeps in because they don't think you're being serious.
Exactly.
That was one of the best advice I got as a mom, was like, just whatever it is, stand on it. And but I also think it's easy for someone to say you're easy on this person and hard on this person. So, two different kids need two different parenting styles sometimes. I cannot be the same parent to Noah as I am with Chico. I
Right.
cannot. They
But the person who
don't
told me
work.
like that, I definitely agreed with them. Because I
Yeah.
am harder on one and nicer on the other, and it should be switched, really. Like, I should be a little bit lenient on one of them and harder on the other.
But I also think the time frames that you had your kids, because
Oh,
like
definitely.
we have age gaps
Mhm.
between our kids. The time frame, I do think my oldest got a harder version of me because I was less healed too. So like he got the tougher mom because I also thought that was the way to parent. But in now hindsight, 2020 now, many years have passed. I have the second one. It's like I also now know like that's not needed. Like I could be stern without being rough.
Right.
But I definitely was way rougher on the softer, kinder kid. Noah's a thug. In the best way, like, love you, baby. You probably never watched this, but he is a thug. When I say he can use the roughness and it be okay, but I'm always like, oh, baby, oh, it's sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. And he's like, you know, I can be rougher, and I haven't been. And with Chico's like, I probably should be softer, and you know, but I get that. I get that, but I don't want to hear it because like, why is it such a jerk? But why I say that
I appreciate things like
no,
that.
but I do appreciate it, but I don't know that I want to hear it because unless it's you already really know my kids.
Right, and that's the person who told me.
Yes,
like,
because
before kids are even born.
Outside looking in, yeah, everything looks different. Like, don't be an outside looking in person. Don't really even know. Have really had a conversation with any of my kids to tell me that.
Right. Yeah.
Because then you don't know like who needs what because you're not
Exactly.
experiencing them the way I am.
Exactly.
But if it's somebody like a Melissa, like a you, like all those things.
Like that came from Rita, and
yeah.
Rita's known my kids inside and
Exactly.
out. She's been there from day one. So.
And that's the thing, that it also matters who tells you these things. Society, like outsiders, don't tell me about my kids. Like that, and I'm highly offended.
Like, defensive for something.
Yeah, I'm offended, and what you said, like,
well,
you know, then
I guess in different situations. Like, I was just having this conversation to a friend, and I said, everybody knows your kids. So if somebody says your kid did this, you know this sounds like what your kid did. So don't be that parent to be like, no, my kid would never, my kid would never. Me, if I know that's something that my kid did, I'm like, oh yeah, that definitely sounds like it.
Like, and I'll correct it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not afraid to be told, like, oh, he did this, and maybe, oh, you know what, but I got you. What did you do?
Right.
And I'm a fun mom, but I do not. I always say this, like, I'd rather be disrespected, and this, not everybody agrees with this, but I'd rather be disrespected in my home than we go out in these streets and you disrespect me.
Yeah.
But my kids know that already about me. They know there's a time and a place. But to hear that from random people, like, that's the thing, the randomness, or like as women, we're so hard on each other. So like, oh, you can't be called, because now, like, oh, you can't body shame, you can't call someone ugly, right? Because that's what we used to do to each other as women. No, let's keep it real. I'm just saying. So now we're gonna antagonize you and judge your parenting, or how you don't got your household together, or how like you're like whatever you got going on in your life is so hard, and you won't bleed it all over your children. Get your life together. So now it's not that you ugly. It's like, oh, all the things, and that's what it's Women's Month, right? Like National Women's everything. Like, and I just want us to do better.
Yeah, we need to.
Because
especially, like, we need to really come together. Like, as women, we need to come together because we can learn so much from each other, and we can just stop like the pettiness and the competition. That's what it is. It's the competition.
I'm not competing with you,
No,
you know.
me either.
But that's what people see it as. Oh, like, so now, like, you can't be pretty and a good mom, because God forbid you can't.
You can't go out and be a good mom.
Let's talk about that.
Right.
Because like that's a whole subject, right?
You can't go out and be a good mom.
Who should leave these kids with? And in the last year, I've gone out more than I have probably my whole life. And it's not out like I'm out in these clubs. It's not that. It's I'm going to brunch more. because what I did learn is that I can't be a good mom unless I'm feeding myself too, and it is so. Latinas cannot. I'm so sorry. I'm not like. It's like, oh, that's the second Saturday I see her out. Like,
Yeah, black people do it too. And they talk about
probably everybody.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's like so funny because I've always dedicated my life to my kids. Now that I'm doing more, oh, she must be doing
Right.
like she must be going through something. No,
And that's
it's
not-
called living.
That's another thing where it's like, you know, you always get the good and the bad. Like when you're in the house all the time with your kids, nobody ever says, man, you need a break. Like you should
God
go
forbid,
out.
no,
You should go
never.
hang out with your friends. You want a vacation?
No,
Nothing.
mentally check out for a day, girl.
Nothing.
Nobody tells you that.
Right.
Nobody
Listen.
tells you that.
My mom is the number one person to tell me
You
my
doing too much?
kids are the way, my kids' bad behavior is the way it is because I am not home with them. 90% of the time, I am home with my kids. The only time I'm not home with my kids is when they sleeping. And what do I need to do? Watch them sleep? That's what I do. I have a 19-year-old and now an 11-year-old. My kids are old enough to be home by themselves, especially if they're asleep.
Same.
So my
I
kid's
think so,
behavior
too.
is not based on me going out, but you know that I deal with a lot of mental health issues with the child. That stress level could be up here. Not once did you say, "Hey, you want to get them for the weekend so you can have a little break?"
I think even friends can do that.
Yeah,
Like, hey, girl,
you've
need
done
a
it for
moment.
me.
You need a moment. Like, go breathe. I got this. Like,
Right.
we don't do that as at all. Like, I don't know many that would do that even for me. I don't know many. I'm not gonna say none because I do have amazing friends, but like it's like a touchy subject. God forbid, like you need a minute to breathe, to mental health check,
Right.
like
you go out
just
and
to take
listen
a
to some
bath
music.
without the
What?
stress. Like, you know what I mean? I think like and even like we're very spiritual, like we both talk about that, but like even in that, like that judgment of like feeling less than because you need a break from your kids. The honesty is like as much as you adore your kids, and this is just like keeping it real moment, as much as you adore your kids, you need a break from anybody.
Yeah.
Like you married, you love with your
Right.
husband, and sometimes those mental health checks will save a marriage. Will say so like you can't be a good you and a good mom and a good anything
Right.
and give if you're not taking a little bit for yourself. I had to learn that the hard way. I had to lose all of me to realize, and that's what happened. That was like my big epiphany is that I felt like I was like a shell of a human a year and a half ago. And there was a period of my life where it was like, and I'm listening to all the noise, right? And once I silence the noise and I'm just like, you know what, I'm still being the best parent I can be, but I'm even better because now I'm taking a moment,
Right.
taking a beat to go over here because it's stressful to be a parent. And then add, you have to have a phone. Like, God, let's be honest. Like, and this is not to say men don't do this either because I know a lot of full-time dads
That's
who
going through
work
things.
that, exactly the same thing.
Mhm.
But as women, we're looked at differently, and that's just the truth. So, like, now you can't be a stay-at-home mom because you're lazy. Let's just like the list, right? So God forbid you're saying, oh, she's lazy. She don't really help out her husband. You know how hard it is to be a stay-at-home mom and to mentally be okay. It is hard. I hats off to you because it could never be me. Not a full-time stay-home. Like it could never because I know that I need those moments where I have time for myself, even if it's in the car, listening to Lauryn Hill or not. It's like those moments, I need those in order to be a better mom.
Right.
But okay, then if you're a working mom and you're really ambitious, oh, she don't really do. Oh, you hear the, oh, she don't really do for her kids. She got people watching them. Then you're a terrible mom like that.
Yeah.
God forbid, like you order takeout twice a week because
Right.
now you ain't
Now you don't cook.
you ain't shit because you ain't cooking.
Right, you
So
ain't
now you don't
for
cook
your
for your man and your kids.
Or you clean your house once a week.
Oh my gosh, you saw her dirtying out. Listen, it's just like the list goes on. So you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. And that's the problem. That's the and then all of that pressure, who do you think gets it? So now you gotta be a perfect mom. And you can't be. Now your kids are acting out in school, having emotional breakdowns, and all of that because you didn't do all of the things, yet you did all of the things.
It doesn't make sense.
Correct. It is trash.
And I feel like that's why a lot of women have depression and anxiety because we really can't vent to a lot of people. Like,
'Cause the
because if we
judgment is
do, then
cycle.
listen, the other night I had a breakdown and I called Rita. I said, I'm calling you because I know you're the only person who will not judge me 100% about what I'm about to tell you. And I went off on how I felt. And she was like, I agree. I know how you feel.
love her.
You're not wrong.
You. Yeah. Because we can't say I love my kids, but today I didn't like them.
Right.
And that's deep. I'm sorry, but it's deep.
You cannot
Today
not
I
like
didn't like what they did and how they acted, and so
and I don't
that
like the person that
personality
they
trait,
are. Right.
I need that to be removed. And it's, you don't like your kids. I didn't say I don't like my kids. I didn't say that. I live for my kids. My kids are like the air I breathe. I know that about myself.
Right.
But now I'm tired. They made me mad, and now because of all the other society things that we have to do as women, now I'm bleeding all over them. I'm mad, and and so it's like I've had breakdowns. You know what I've done? Like one time, and not even that long ago, quietly closed the door to my room, closed the door to the bathroom, locked everything, and just started screaming.
I did that before.
Oh.
It felt so good.
Thank you. And why? Because then after I did that, I unlocked everything and I went about my day, and now it felt good, and now I feel relieved, and now I'm being a better me and a better mom. But if I hate that we can't talk like this amongst everyone. Like, we're saying this on national TV.
Right.
But it's like, if we don't have these conversations, no one will, because it is like frowned upon. Oh my gosh, if you tell, I used to have an aunt, and let's bring in the religious aspect. So you're not taking them kids to the Catholic Church?
Girl, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
You grew up like this, and you're not doing like God's work, and it's like I am doing God's work just by being their mom, and I am very. I will tell you this: like I love going to church, but I am also not living the Catholic lifestyle that they would want me to. I'm not a Catholic. I'm nothing against any religion, but what I choose to be Christian is what I choose to be Christian. So now I'm not following the footsteps, and like now I'm not like what was ingrained in me. I'm not bringing it on to my kids, and my beliefs are different. God forbid. So now I'm not cooking every single day. I'm not staying at home, but I'm working. All the things, and now religion. So have you ever had an issue with that?
My mom, she's the bitch. I told you my mom's the biggest hater. She's like big in the church. We grew up in the church. We grew up Catholic for a little bit until I went to Catholic school and everything until we moved out here, and my mom started going to the Christian non-denominational church. So she's been at that church since the 90s. We grew up in that church. We went to that church 3 times a week. We went to that church because she was on every board. Vacation Bible school at that church, summer school at that church. It was a lot. So by the time I got to an adult and decided I don't want to go to church all the time like that. Like, I don't want to. I just don't. That's not what I want to do. I found a church that I liked, and I went every Sunday. They had a good kids ministry. I took my kids. That church shut down after COVID. So now I don't go to a church because I'm not going to go to any church that I don't like. I'm just not going to force myself to go to.
What a real Christian would tell you is like this. Just us two can be a church, like wherever one or more people like congregate. Exactly. And so like it's just the idea that now we gotta be specific and be exactly
my
what
mom
we were
told me my
raised to
kids
be.
act up because they're not in church.
So like it's not just the cereal you buy.
It's because they're not in church.
It's because they're not in church. You work, but you don't cook every day. You don't stay home, and you stay home.
We haven't been to church since the pandemic, right? Like an actual church. Well, every now and then, but not for real. And my son still wanted to get baptized. He still wanted to get baptized.
And I always, and Catholics don't follow this, but I've always believed in like letting that be a choice for your children because they have to have their own relationship with God. It is not something that you can ingrain it, and it still has to sit and resonate, right? And so like I'm big on my kids asking me for all the things, right? And they do, and I love when they're like, "Oh, let's go to church. It's been a minute." And they keep me accountable, but at the same time, that looks different for everybody.
Right.
And
Listen. My
how
mom
are
was
we
like,
qualified to judge?
my mom's like, are you gonna come to church Easter Sunday? I will not be at church on Easter Sunday. If I go to church, it will never be on Easter Sunday. That will not be my first time back in church. Because everybody goes to church on Easter Sunday.
Why do you think it's a thing?
I have no idea.
It's
Well, I don't
funny.
know if it's like that, like with Latins, but with black people,
Oh no, it's like that, girl.
oh my God.
I mean, in the Latin community, that's when you go to church,
Yes.
like, right? It's so funny because, like, you ain't go to church all year round.
Right.
I don't think you've been to church since last Easter,
Exactly.
and that's what you choose.
But not
It's
just
very
coming, you gotta go
interesting,
buy all
too.
these new outfits and the Easter dresses and the Easter
hats.
hats. Yeah. Mm-mm.
Girl, that's
It's a show, and I'm not going for
yeah.
the show.
And the thing is, that's not their place. Like, we don't have to put on a show for everybody else.
Exactly.
Like, it is your personal
Mm-hmm.
choice and your journey with God. I can't speak on that, but some of the most judgmental things that I've ever heard about myself came from people at
At
church.
church, yeah.
And nothing against her. I love my God. I will say that until I'm blue in the face. But you have to sit in a, oh, God forbid your kid like fell asleep in a service. Oh my God, I heard the weirdest thing. Like, you should really get them checked, because if they're falling asleep at church, that's a problem.
Oh my God.
Some lady told me that. I had no idea who she was either.
I love this church that I was going to. Loved it. Like, I would be waiting for Sunday to go to this church. And the pastor's wife started doing like morning prayers virtually. So I started watching them on Facebook, and she started talking about people and how these horoscopes, if you do horoscopes and if you do yoga, you're going to go to hell. Whoa, I'm going to hell because I like yoga?
I actually had a conversation with somebody the other day that's like, nobody can tell me I'm going to hell. No, like, your sin is not less greater than or less than mine.
Exactly.
You
Who
can't
are
tell
to
me.
tell me?
And the
Did
thing
God tell
is,
you?
like, there's no, and that's where I do steer away from churches that do that, because to me, like, you are not anyone to damn anyone.
Exactly. That's why I stopped going. Because, like, she was really calling people out. If you do this, you're going to hell.
The
If you do
judgment
this,
is
you're
real.
going to hell. And I was like,
And how are you gonna tell somebody, like, I've heard this too, and this stems back to the kids thing, like, oh, if you're a mother that didn't do X, Y, and Z, like, chances are you're going to hell too, like, the chances are you have to repent and do, and it's like crazy to me to think, like, who did you not, let's see your parenting skills, like, it's so, all of that is just,
Yeah.
it just makes me upset, because I think I'm a pretty good person. Like, obviously I have so many faults, but I know, like, what I stand for, and I think, like, for me, they're good enough, like, and that's where I'm at. Like, I just have to answer to one person at the end of the day, and that's it.
yeah.
And
That person can tell me if I'm going to hell or not.
yeah, and he literally could decide for
Right,
me,
right.
right?
That's only up to one person. Like, that's it.
But it's just the religion aspect is even more, like, it's even
Yeah.
more. So
Well, what about, like, women who have multiple baby daddies? So, for example, I don't know if you've seen on the internet, 'cause I know you don't be on social media like that, but
no, I'm so terrible.
the older women now, like the reality ladies like Drea and Joey, are pregnant. Drea's 38 and her baby daddy's 21, 22. Joey's in her 30s, her baby daddy's like 23. But they're talking about how, like, for example, Joey has 3 kids already by 3 different dads. And they're like, oh my God, like, you have all these kids, like all these different.
I know
men.
many people like that, and for me, I don't know your story. Like, I don't know the time frame. I don't know, and even if it was a year, 1 year after the other, I think, like, it's so easy for me to sit here and be like, dang, she got 4 baby daddies.
And we
4
do that. I'm guilty of
yeah,
it too.
like,
I'm like,
I think the thought comes across sometimes, but then I think, I don't really know the details behind that, ladies.
I mean, I would
So,
never
you
say
know,
it. Like,
no,
talk
yeah,
shit about it, but I just be
people
like,
do.
damn.
People do. They think it's okay. I think it's relative. It depends on the situation. Now, if you out here,
Mm-hmm.
and you have, then I'm not necessarily gonna judge, but it's gonna give me a little bit of pause. Like, maybe, honey, maybe no more babies. Like maybe like hold on, because I think it matters. I'm not judging the amount of kids versus daddies. I'm judging like it matters who you have kids with, so that you're not bleeding on your kids.
Right.
So like so that you both, because a lot of times with those people is that you haven't been around that person long enough to actually get to know who they will be as a father. And sometimes even if you have, they surprise you people. They surprise you.
You be married for 10 plus years.
Yeah. But then you don't learn your lesson the first time, and you got to keep doing it. And then that's a cycle that it's about you and not necessarily your parenting skills or anything like that.
Yeah.
But that's
like,
what would give me
I've
pause.
been seeing like people like, if a woman, first, you get married, whatever, it's your first child, it didn't work out, you got married young, you had kids young, cool. Now you get a second relationship, y'all together for 10 years, and you have babies, and now you have a 1-year-old and a 10-year-old. You've been with this man for 10 years now, and you had a baby. That didn't work out. So now you find love maybe 5-6 years later, and now you want to, he don't have no kids, he wants to have kids. So you want to give him a baby.
That's why I don't judge it, because I really like a sister-in-law of mine. She has 2 baby daddies and 2 kids, if you're gonna put it like that. But one is 18 and one is 2. You know what I'm saying? Like you need context behind it. Like we can't just sit here and be like, oh my God, 5 kids, 4 daddies. Where's she been at?
Right.
And then you know the story, and like she got a set of twins. Everything is relative to the person. So I don't try to judge. Every once in a while, like we're gonna keep it real. I'm like, dang. Every once in a while. But it really doesn't, like you have to,
listen,
you have 2 different dads, right? But your kids are far apart, and like you were, no, baby daddy, sorry, I said daddy, didn't I? I was like, you don't got 2 dads.
Okay, you're trying to tell me something.
Live!
Call my mama right now.
But it's context behind it. Like everybody could say, oh my God, 2 baby daddies, 2 kids.
And look at my age gap.
And even if it wasn't, it was like you got married. Like there's a whole story behind it.
Right.
The idea that people think they know you just because of social media, and then the idea that they can judge you and judge your parenting and judge you as a woman just because you you posted a picture. That gives you the right to do all the things and all the slander that people do. Like, no, I posted a picture. It should be left at that.
Right.
You either see the picture or not.
I was talking to this lady who, she's a therapist, but she's not my therapist. She's just a therapist, and we were talking about being a single mom and having kids lash out at you. Like, your kids sometimes tell you that you're a bad mom. So she was like, you have to remember, like, you're around that child so much, and everything you do is going to irritate that child. So you are now their trigger. You are
annoying as hell, and I'm okay with that.
So she's like, you can't take things like that to heart when your kids say that. She's like, y'all are going to be each other's triggers, because that's what y'all see. You are around this person all the time.
I've always told myself, like, I know that they're not going to always like me, but I want to know that they can always love and trust me.
Right.
My kid, if they always like you, you're probably not disciplining them at all.
I don't mind being the bad guy as long as the outcome I know is going to do
and it's
good.
For the greater good of them.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's hard to, and with boys, I'm over here choking on nothing, and with boys, because we're women, and we want to raise, excuse me, I'm like choking for real, I don't know.
This guy choked up, y'all.
I'm like choked up. But boys are a little bit different than having girls, and I never had a girl, but I have nieces, I have friends that have more than one girl. Like, in watching that dynamic versus like you're a woman raising men, it's different, and it's almost like more like, because you gotta be soft but kind.
Yes.
Outspoken but not loud.
Yes.
Like, it's like a balance that you have to have with boys, because you have to play the tough card. Even if you're not a single mom, like, I wasn't always like alone, but I was always the main, how do I put this? Like, I provided motherhood and food and all that, but I also was a disciplinarian. And it's hard to be that, because they see you as a bad guy sometimes, but also God forbid you don't discipline them, then they're out here running
Right,
amok and
yeah.
being crazy out here.
And don't know the word.
And then, so
no,
like, you
stuff
can't
like that.
balance, like, I feel like I've been told, like, oh, like, ease up, it's okay. And then I've been told, get harder and be tougher, and it's like, you can't have both.
Right.
Calm down, you know, like,
Either
give me a beat, because I don't know, like, what's, you know, and
Right.
and I just, you gotta do, like, my biggest advice, is just gotta do what's best for you and yours at home, because nobody knows what's happening behind closed doors. People could assume, and people
And they
love
going
to
to,
assume.
right?
They love it. Like, oh, she must not be doing X, Y, and Z. And it's like, I love it because sometimes the kids out of nowhere, yes, they're hard on you, and you're a bad mom, and you're, oh my gosh, I can't stand you. I've been told that even recently. I can't stand you. You're so weird. Like, I know I am. Hello, weirdos unite for a reason, right? But it's like, yes, I am a weird person, but like, and then your kids should be annoyed by you, especially if you have like preteens and teenagers. They should be annoyed. You're doing something right.
And it's gonna get worse, because the older they get, the more they're gonna want to do, and the more no's they're gonna hear. Kids
I'm
hear
okay
so many no's in high school.
Hell no, you
Can I
can't
go
do
here?
this.
Can I do
Yeah.
this? Can I go to this place?
No.
This person's
Yeah.
driving. Can I go? Who's driving? Him? He just got his license? No.
He been driving for 30 minutes, and you want to go where?
Right.
Oh, that's such a Chico thing. No, but Noah's my out there. Like, he needs to be in these streets all the time. I'm like, I'm tired. He's like, but I'm bored. I don't. When kids say they're bored, my first reaction is like, oh, you could read a book, go draw,
Why are you
go
bored?
become something. Like, go, because there's so much to do.
I
Want to go
be
clean?
bored.
I want to be bored and have nothing to do, right?
Right.
Do you think men are hard on women? Oh, because it's society as women to women, but do you think it's like to live up to the word mother is
Oh,
hard
yeah.
from a mother or from a man's point?
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, they are. I think that they have
A morbid idea of
Yeah.
what it is.
to be a mom.
Do you think the living up to a man's mom is a thing?
I don't think so. I mean, at least the ones that I've encountered, not. I think if a man has a good mom,
Yeah.
I think he looks for some of those traits in your mothering style. But if he's a realist, like I have a friend whose mom, like he always says, my mom is a female at the end of the day, so I can't take advice from her because she's a female. She's not gonna give me male
Interesting.
advice. So he's like, when we talk sometimes, or even growing up, she would always try to do certain things, and I didn't agree with it because I'm like, you're a female, and I'm a man. We don't. That's not gonna click. So he's like, now older, he was like, I want a woman that was just like my mom. He was like, but I want some of those good qualities that she had as a woman and a mom. I would like that, like not to. I want her to be outspoken. I want her to be able to speak her mind. I want her to be nurturing. I want her to be, caring and what is the word when you're like always paying attention, attentive and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, cool. I can see things like that.
I can, but I think in some ways a lot of, and I can say just from my experience, I think like a lot of the things, if you want me to be like your mother, in not necessarily those aspects, but like have food on the table by 4, have this, like, then you have to put me in the same time frame and mindset and economical stance. Like, you cannot compare what you went through. You're 40, so 40 years ago, 30 years ago, as opposed to the mothering that we have to do now.
Listen, my mom worked a job and still had food on the table. We didn't eat no later than 6 o'clock, I want to say. Because she would get up in the morning, prep her food so she could come home, go to the crock pot, all of this stuff. Because she wanted to eat, everybody wanted to eat early, go to bed by the same time. So I commend her to that. Hats off. But nowadays, our jobs that we have are different. The money that we need to make to survive, especially being a single mom, you had a husband, it's different. So my days don't end until 8 o'clock sometimes. So my kids might get McDonald's tonight.
Yeah. Dang, because it's true. I have had a lot of judgment for also working, but also them not being the healthiest me. Like I've had a lot of health issues, and that's almost deemed like I can't get it right. And I didn't realize how big of a problem that was from other people looking at me until I really got sick and couldn't do certain things. And then it was just like, well, when is she gonna go back to work? When is she gonna go back? When is she? It was always. It was never like, oh, is she okay?
Right.
Does she need help as a mom? How can I make the kids feel less attended to? Because I couldn't do all the things. I really tried. It was a really hard time for me in terms of like the mom guilt.
Right.
But never was it like, and this makes me angry at the world a little bit, because it was never like, especially the older women, the older moms, like, oh, like, you know, when is she gonna get herself together? This is like, I'm like deathly sick, and like, I got a lot of negative. It's weird how much negative I got in such an already negative situation. And in like the whole like, oh, let me take your kids for a minute, and so that they, oh, like, oh, now she can't take them to the park, like, those kids are gonna suffer.
What?
You'd be surprised at the things that you realize from people at your lowest.
Right.
People are, it's, the judgment is so real, and it's just like, I really wanted to talk about this, so it's like, I know people could relate. I know a friend of mine sent me a little like when, so like if you're married and all the things that you have to be already as a wife, God forbid you're already not a good mom.
I don't even think of married women.
Yeah.
I think of it as a from a
Yeah, but like just all the pressure of like you have to perform for your husband in every way, and God forbid you disagree, and it's almost sometimes like she said, like it's almost sometimes like you have to like the Stepford Wives of it all, right? You have to be like this perfect thing, and you have to not be outspoken about your feelings. Like you can't express yourself because like you know, but now you're being disobedient to your husband. And then if you're not agreeing with his parenting skills, how that can go. So you gotta navigate. I don't know which is worse, because it's so hard to be a single parent, single mom at that, and then, or like to navigate being the best mom and then still having to like butt heads with somebody that doesn't necessarily agree that you're a good mom. And it's just a lot. It's a lot. Like,
we were talking the other night, and I think the topic was dating. Being the best version of if you're the best version, the healed version of yourself, you attract that. So your next relationship shouldn't be like it was
as toxic.
Yeah. And you know what you want. You know what your worth, basically. I know what I'm going to deal with because I've dealt with that before. I don't want to deal with that again.
Like, yeah, this
so
is what I don't
right.
want.
So you're more cautious now.
Yeah.
So we're having that conversation, and this girl was like, well, men want us to be their moms. And they want us to be their moms and our aunties and our grandmas from back in the day. You want us barefooted pregnant, you want us to be home, you don't want us to say anything, kind of thing. And there was like 8 men in the room, and they were like, what?
I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, I think certain men do want that, but as time goes on, I do see where like men's mindset is changing towards women too. Not everybody, because I do see her point too. Like, there's a lot of men that don't like, they want a pretty girl, but God forbid you speak. Like to a woman to be seen for all whatever facet of beauty she has, but never her.
I think those
I've
men
been told
need
that
help. Like they have
I've been
some kind of
told
trauma.
that.
Even
Can't lie.
even not even a relationship, as a person, like if we're co-workers, you think that I need to be silent because I'm a woman. Like, that's crazy. You have problems.
Exactly. And so like that's not the norm. So what she's saying isn't invalid, but that should be the non-normal.
Well, you know, and the guys asked her to break it down a little bit, and when I think her version is screwed of what's the word? Being submissive and being a wife and a mom. She thinks that your roles are supposed to be cooking, cleaning, and doing whatever your husband says. No,
I think your role is your role, and you
it's
define
not
your role.
even a role. Like I hate when women
I hate
say,
gender roles too. It's not a thing for me.
I hate when women say I bring a lot to the table. I cook, I clean, I'm a good mom. Those are 3 things that you are supposed to do. you're supposed
Whether
to cook.
you're in a
clean.
relationship or
Right.
not.
So
Yeah.
you're telling me if you're by yourself, you're not gonna cook for yourself, and you're
Yeah.
not gonna clean your house, and you're not gonna
That
take
that
care of
is
your kids?
irrelevant to a relationship because what you do and bring to the table should be add-ons to that.
Right.
Like that, those are very basic necessities of
Yes.
human life.
You're gonna do that
So like
regardless.
I've never been like, oh, like I'm gonna really clean this, I'm gonna really,
Right.
because like that really should be
Right.
like something that you're proud of for you. That is never
Listen, I
something.
was with the girl and she lost me when she said that y'all want us to cook and clean and do this. That means that we're slaves. And I was like, slaves? So I'm a slave to myself because I gotta cook and clean all the time.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me either. But I think that's her own trauma speaking
Right, I
for
was like-
something that she went through.
Right.
I really think it's like as women too, for us not to let like the storm get our kids wet. We gotta really know. Like everybody talks about knowing who you are before you get in a relationship.
And
The
that's what I'm
longest
thinking.
relationship you ever will have is being a mother to
Yeah.
a child.
I'm thinking of her mindset like that. What if she has a daughter and she's telling her daughter, this is what you don't want to be in a relationship because blah, blah, blah.
And so that's her storm is gonna soak up her kids.
Mhm.
And that's the problem, that we want to heal for a husband. We want to heal for our next relationship, not thinking like
It's just for
this
yourself.
is for yourself. And so like if you're a parent, you're not messing this up because cycles need to be broken. So like what we went through as kids and as young adults, we should not be expecting our kids to go through. It should be better. It should become where it stops with us.
Mhm.
But mindsets like that is why things continue.
Yeah.
And like why, I mean, we spoke about this a long time ago, how like my mindset versus my sister
Mhm.
in what we went as like tragedies, because I would call it a tragedy of what we went through.
Mhm.
And it was like she thought like her and like the victimization of all that.
Yeah.
And so now she has 3 kids. So now they definitely have the same
Mhm.
traits. And so like now her oldest is a mom. And so that just kept going. Where it could have
Mhm.
just stopped with you.
Right.
And that's our biggest lesson. Like
Mhm.
what people need to say is like heal and help you heal instead of
Right.
judging and criticizing.
Mhm.
Because like you're not doing nothing for these kids but making it worse.
Right. I think every mom needs to have an outlet, and if you have been through some traumas, I think that you definitely need to get some kind of help for your kids, moms, dads, both. Like, cause dads do it too. So if you need that help, we really do.
Go get
Get
it.
that therapy so that you are able to be the best version of yourself for them.
And I think that's when I worked on most my like it was when I was a new mom, and then when I had my Noah, my second son, it was like very evident. I thought I did work, I needed more work. And it was very evident because I saw like, okay, I could really either stop it or like they're gonna live the same tragic story, maybe in different ways, but that I lived. It's impossible to be a good parent if you're broken and not willing to admit it yourself. It's impossible. You can love your kid till you're blue in the face, but you are gonna bleed and storm all over your kids if you don't necessarily fix it. And it like you don't fix overnight. Actually, you're always fixing yourself. You're always working on yourself. That's how it should be. But outside this is never gonna help. So like you could give truly candid and loving advice and come from a good place, or you could judge. Like, but there's no in between. And don't come to me with a problem that you see in me without a solution. I don't want to hear it. And that's just the truth. Not because I'm not willing to learn from it, but because how can you judge this and not really guide me? Because I'm teachable. Teach me all you want. I'm willing to learn. I'm eager. But if you don't have anything like but this complaint, so like how would you have solved it?
Right.
If I did wrong, share it and teach me.
Right.
Like don't make me feel less than. Because like if you just complain to complain without a resolution or without some tip or advice,
Or even get the gentle advice. Like don't make it come off as.
and don't be like, girl, you, oh my
Right.
gosh.
Like if you
just
see
did?
something that your friend is doing, you don't agree with it, you can be like, you know, my kid did the same thing, and this is what I did. Maybe try.
Is it
see what
touchy
happens.
though?
What?
Like,
To
I
talk
know we're
about
shorter on
kids?
time, but it's touchy,
Oh,
right?
very touchy.
But I feel like if it's coming from a good place, it's gonna come and it's gonna come off like
when
from your
Jen was on the
place.
show, she said a lot of her friends didn't tell her that they, you know,
They thought her daughter
yeah.
was autistic.
She thought her closest friends would, and I thought I would too. But then I'm also thinking like, ooh, like it's kind of touchy.
It's touching because like I have a friend. I'm not gonna say her name. I've said her name on this podcast, but I'm not gonna say her name for that. But I voiced it after like she started voicing it. Then I was like, yes, these are the things I saw. But I wasn't the one to tell you first, just because I need like for those type of things, it's touchy. So like, hey, I think something's up with your kid. It doesn't come off well.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, oh, you saw this? Yes, I did see it too. Maybe you should get him checked.
Right.
That is a different thing.
Yes.
So like, delivery is everything too.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah. And if I think my friend's being a bad mom, but
yeah.
I'm gonna say something in a nice way.
And the
We
thing
have to hold
is,
each
like,
other
what you
accountable.
think is a bad mom could be a conversation if something's going on in her
Right.
life. So like,
Mhm.
maybe then she could be like, this is what I'm going through. But like,
You can
say-
ask her like, what's going on? I
exactly.
see
Are
this
you
has
okay?
changed.
This has
Yeah.
changed.
Mhm.
You're doing more things like this, and you used to be like this, because that's giving her the grace that she needs.
Right. Now she can talk about it.
Exactly. See, this was deep. We went through an hour. It was good. I want to hear from you guys, like just things that you want us to talk about. Even things about this. Maybe you have some opinions, nice opinions, because we just talked about it for an hour about how like delivery is key.
opinion.
Nice opinion. You know, like even if it's a disagreement, we can disagree and still love and show love. Like that's a big thing too.
Yeah.
As women, we need to still be okay with it. Like I could disagree with you and still love you till I'm blue in the face.
Right.
It's not gonna change.
Exactly.
Like we don't have to
We're not
agree on
agreeing on
everything.
everything. Right.
But society is like, this is how it is. Everything that disagrees is wrong, and that's just not the case. I could learn from me disagreeing from you.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we gonna wrap it up. We love you guys, girl. Share your handle, share your info.
I am Nikki Fitness _ wonderful.
She's not on the 5th floor. Like
Folk flow.
no. I was talking to somebody who was like bringing up Martin. I'm so corny. The show. He's like, brother man lives on the 5th floor, but she lives on the 4th one.
Right.
Anyway, and I'm Aspired J. That is JEY. We are Aspired Podcast. Follow, subscribe, like for real. I really want to champion our subscribers. Thank you for subscribing, and for those who haven't, you can do it right now.
Right.
Like right now. Right.
Go right now.
Click. All right. click.
Right.
Go click happy.
It's simple. Subscribe.
Yeah. I mean, Spotify is easy too. It's a button too. Like
Yes.
follow.
And if you follow us on Instagram, go follow our podcast page.
Why not? Right? Like, come on. It's all because like you get both of us in one.
Right.
Like, come on. All right. We love you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Nikki's neighbors.